welcome to the last halthegal IGTV of 2019. We made it. Yeah, you can see my website for a recap of the year, and we are happy to move on. So, you guys asked for it, so I will indulge you. This is the journal in which I write down every book I read because I wouldn't remember them otherwise. So 2019, 123 books so far. So I'm going to go through some highlights, not the best books ever written necessarily, but the ones that were just thoroughly a pleasure to read the whole way through. So here we go. I will try to keep it brief, but you've met me probably if you're here online on my Instagram, so sorry. Okay, here we go. Picked this one up in New York, in Greenwich Village, cute little bookshop. 84 Charing Cross Road. Super delightful. It's just letters that, it's actually nonfiction, but published in fiction. They're real letters from a book collector to a small bookshop in Britain. If you haven't read it, it's tinier than I expected. Just a delight. So read 84 Charing Cross Road. I'll save that one for later. This one was just perfect. The Extremely Inconvenient Adventures of Bronte Meadowstone. Young readers, anything you want in a young reader's adventure book is right here. So highly recommend. Be great for reading with your kids right before bed, short little chapters, all the adventures. I loved it. The next one's out, but I don't have it yet, but loved this one. This one was a reread. I read a lot of nonfiction how-to write books this year, but wanted to write this one. So it has both writing advice and short stories, and I'm not a short story girl. Like, it's a struggle, but Richard Peck, past, present, present tense. Perfect collection. I love it. It's genius. Highly recommend it. Should read it, reread it, love it, own it. This one was good. So another young reader's City of Ghosts, Victoria Schwab. It was an Owl Crate Junior book. I didn't get that box that month, but I waited for the paperback, and it was delightful. Makes me want to go back to Edinburgh, of course. I do not want the haunted tour of Edinburgh, Scotland. But the last time I was there, like, J.K. Rowling wasn't even published yet. So now it is pilgrimage time, and this was fun. So she acknowledges Harry Potter-ness, and it's just quick, easy, believable read. Delightful. Yeah, I won't give you a plot synopsis because you just need to read it. Okay, last young reader pick. I will show you Arlo Finch in Lake of the Moon. In the Lake of the Moon? Yeah. Arlo Finch in the Valley of Fire was the first one, and this was a sequel, equally delightful. I love the first one. Easy way to say it is Harry Potter meets the Boy Scouts, but better. Because, yeah, great. So, highly recommend this series. This was a sequel. Was not disappointed. So, okay, getting to YA, which is what I read the most, because it's just tastes like less brain power, and it's all the emotions, all the story, and I love it. So some of these I can't believe I actually read this year because it feels like longer ago, but here are books that I thoroughly enjoyed cover to cover for 2019 in YA fiction. First up, Shadow of the Fox, Julie Kagawa. Delightful. Again, I don't own the sequel yet. So many books to read. This was so good. So good. Shadow of the Fox. This one was fun. I remember likening it to Rory Gilmore if she had stayed at, I can't think of it. But if she didn't go to Chilton and if she had stayed at Stars Hollow High. There you go. So In Some Other Life by Jessica Brody. It was just fun. It was fun. Plus, you know, there's shoes on the cover, so of course I liked it. It's probably why I picked it up, but loved this book. This one was an uppercase book pick. Dark Shores, Danielle L. Jensen. It had some kissing, but not explicit, like her grown-up romance, which I haven't read, and just she gives you content warnings online too. But Dark Shores was delightful. You can see I have a couple passages marked because brilliant, and I cannot wait for the sequel in 2020. Again, Dark Shores, Danielle L. Jensen. This series I hadn't read before, but I love Mary Pearson. I read Dance of Thieves last year, and Vow of Thieves was a sequel that came out this year, and I went to the series that preceded that, and this is just the greatest YA series ever written. It's the Remnant Chronicles. If you haven't read them already, I just feel like it's the quintessential YA fantasy girl warrior. We got it. So this was the first one, Kiss of Deception, but I did read the whole trilogy this year. Also recommend her Dance and Vow of Thieves books. So I should have seen the ending coming because those happened after this, but I didn't because I'm Hallie and I don't remember every plot detail ever. But Remnant Chronicles, highly recommend. This one, again, this feels like forever ago I read this, and yet it was this year. All the Crooked Saints by Maggie Stiefvater. I also read Her Call Down the Hawk this year, which was dark and gritty, but this is just the perfect tall tale fable book. I love it. I love it. It's a standalone, not that ginormous. Again, I have lots of passages marked. Brilliant. I love this book. Okay, this one was just beautiful. Gut-wrenching, but lovely. In Paris with You by Clémentine Beauvais. It's kind of, again, I have beautiful passages marked. Poetic, stream of consciousness. I need to reread it. I'm holding this and I don't know why I'm talking to you instead of rereading it. It was lovely. So, In Paris with You. So good. This one was hilarious. I love a funny book. And this was just fun. Start to finish. 10 Blind Dates by Ashley Elston. I actually won this in an Instagram giveaway. Hooray! Again, 10 Blind Dates. It happens over the holidays. Her interfering family tries to, each member of her ginormous family sets her up with a different blind date while she's home for break. It's hilarious because dating's hard and it helps to laugh at it. So I'm happily married now. I can relate that it was awful. So this was funny. 10 Blind Dates, Ashley Elston. And this one was a surprise. Came in a bonus book in one of my LitJoy crates, and it's Jane Eyre's Space, which retellings, take them for what they're worth. Sometimes they're pretty good. Sometimes they're just unnecessary. This was just fun. It was fun, and it actually made it in my top pile of those 122 books. So those are my top highlights. If you're not bored of seeing my face yet, I'm going to give you some runners-up and other things that were just great. So here's, besides writing books, the one nonfiction book I read this year, The Library Book by Susan Orlean. It's delightful. It was a mystery about the LA fire in the 80s in the library and just the significance of libraries in our community. It was brilliant. It was a mystery. It was like unsolved crime, but without being awful. It was just delightful. I read this series too. I'm actually reading Supernova right now. It's not that deep or brilliant. I just created some fan art for it. So I had to highlight character descriptions because I don't get a cheat sheet because I'm not officially a fan artist. Anyway, Renegades, Marissa Meyer. It's a trilogy. I'm in Supernova, the third one right now that just came out. I'm not into the Avengers. If you've met me, I've probably told it to you before. There's just too many movies. But this is superheroes versus bad guys, and I just need them to sit down and have a conversation. I feel like the world's problems could be solved, but it's delightful. It's just good. Great characters, interesting superpowers, and love. Also, a sequel came out this year, Bid My Soul Farewell by the incomparable Beth Revis. I'd read Give the Dark My Love last year. Sequel came out this year. Read this series if you haven't. It's brilliant and just so well written and emotional and powerful. So they didn't make it in my most delightful read books because they're intense, but they're so good. So read Give the Dark My Love, and of course follow it up with the amazing sequel, Bid My Soul Farewell. Beth, I love ya. Also, this one was a little steamy, so it had its moments, but well met. I'm a nerd, and I've been obsessed with Shakespeare since like third grade, just probably for the sake of pretension, but delightful. So Shakespeare jokes, English literature jokes, Renaissance fairs, boys in kilts, and pirates, and it was just funny and perhaps predictable, but sometimes that's why you read a rom-com, is because you know it has a happy ending. So enjoyed Well Met by Jen DeLuca. Yeah, there's kissing, if you know what I mean. So otherwise, it was great. And this one is a top contender. House of Salt and Sorrows is a retelling of the 12 Dancing Princesses, which I love. A not that well-known fairy tale. Some kids know my fairy tale feet painting when they come into my art booth at festivals because apparently Barbie made a terrible movie of it. But 12 Dancing Princesses is a fantastic fairy tale, and House of Salt and Sorrows, it was gritty, but it was a mystery and you won't put it down, so only read it when you have the time to finish it. So it's not that big, but it was great. So those are my recommendations. Oh, one last thing. Okay, this one has a cuss word in the title, but I read some self-improvement books this year, and I actually loaned out You Are a Bad Arse by Jen Sincero, but I'm currently reading You Are a Bad Arse at Making Money, kind of reframing our perceptions of greed and our own self-worth. And it's not greedy to want money if you want to do good with it and to empower yourself to put the good out into the world that you were created to do. So she cusses a lot. She's also funny. But at the root of it all, I agree with a lot of her sentiments, and have gotten some good advice from her. So take that under advisement. So those are my picks for 2019. My TBR cabinet under the television is still chock full of at least 100 titles I need to read. So publishing world, I love ya. But if you could put things on hold for, at least a few months so we can catch up, that would be swell. But anyway, I love the books. I love you guys. Thanks for tagging along. And I can't wait to see what we read in 2020. So happy New Year. I hope it's a tremendous year for you. Bye.